Pastor James here, and on Sunday I guess we wrapped up the Presence series. I don't want to wrap it up. I don't want us to lose focus on the fact that God wants to be in our presence. He calls us into his presence, and there are things that you and I must do. This idea that we can just be in the presence of God anytime we want to is false. God always wants us to be in that. Hopefully you heard that on Sunday, that God is calling us to immerse ourselves fully in his presence. And only then will we be completely blessed so we can be a blessing. Only then will we see those dead areas in our lives come back to life, and dead areas in other people's lives come back to life. And today I want you to spend time, and you're going to read Ezekiel. You're going to read part of that vision. Again, it starts in chapter 40 and works its way all the way through the end of Ezekiel chapter 48. But we're going to focus on just that one section of 47 where he's talking about the temple and the river that comes out of the temple. And man, there's so much to this. There's so much we can draw an analogy of Jesus Christ. It's coming out of the right side, just the water. And when they would sacrifice, get this, they would sacrifice, and there was waters out of the temple that would come through. We're not talking about the old tabernacle. We're talking about the temple that was built in Jerusalem. But they had created cisterns, and there was flowing water. And so when they would do the sacrifice from the altar, then the water and the blood would mix, and then it would go out the right side of the temple. And then let's fast forward to Jesus Christ. When he was sacrificed, when he was on the cross, they pierced his right side. How awesome is that? Pierced his right side, and it says that blood and water flowed out. Hallelujah. Amen. Right? I mean, just grab a hold of that. And this idea of this blood and water that's flowing out and then cleansing. And we see through Ezekiel, it talks about that. And the question I posed on Sunday was really a question from looking at Abraham and looking at Ezekiel. Is the current amount of the presence of God in your life, is that sufficient for you? Now, I doubt any one of you is going to just say, oh yeah. Oh no, I know. Yeah. It's definitely not, or it's definitely sufficient. I don't think anyone's going to automatically say that. But I wonder how many of us, if we really are honest with ourselves and look at our lives, that our lives actually answer and say, yes, my current amount of God's presence is sufficient in my life. I'm just pausing for effect for a second. I want you to really think about that. So when you guys are talking about this, I don't want any Sunday school answers. I want you to really, really think about it. Is how I live today, does it demonstrate that I want more of God in my life? Or does it demonstrate that I am comfortable with the amount of God in my life? Does it demonstrate that I'm willing to get fully immersed in God so that I may bless others, so that I may bring life into other people that don't have life? You see, the Dead Sea doesn't have any life. It needs water. It needs the fresh water to come in and replace all of that. And you and I are the conduit for that in so many other people's lives. It's, again, I say this often, it's not about you. It's about them. It's about allowing God to move in you. So once again, is the amount of God's presence in your life good enough for you? Or are you willing to go forward? And so I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about this idea. Think about the water. Really think about it. Think about the fact that it starts out as trickle, and then all of a sudden in about a mile, it becomes over the person's head. Think about the amount of water that's flowing into the Dead Sea, how vast the Dead Sea would have been in those times, and say that it could totally transform, and not only transform the water from a saltwater environment, a dead environment, to an environment where life could be, but it also means that it brought life. And there's other things. I want you to really, I'm not going to tell you all the answers, because I want you to really think about the significance of the trees on either side, and wherever the river goes, it brings life. This is an exciting time, I believe, in the journey of the crossroads, as we come to a crossroad. And we are beginning to veer in 2020 into a new, I don't want to say a new path, but into a further area of what God wants for us. We've been on this great journey for 3 years now, and I believe God is now ready to take us on the next leg of that journey. And I'm so excited about it. But that leg of journey, I need you to understand, is calling for people to not be comfortable with where they're at. For people that would say, I'm ready to fully dive in, or maybe I'm ankle deep, I'm going to go knee or waist deep. But for more and more people say, God, I want to be blessed so I can be a blessing. God, I want more of your presence so I can bring your presence to all people. I love you guys so much. I can't wait to hear the stories that are continuing to come out of life groups and how you're going to change lives, how you're going to impact lives through the very presence of God. Have a great life group.